Alaska, the northern edge of North America, one of the harshest geographies on Earth. Here, in winter, the sun does not rise for weeks, rivers are covered in armor made of ice, and life turns into an impossible battle for most living creatures. But in these lands, there is one animal for which these brutal conditions are just a backdrop: Kodiak Island. In southwestern Alaska, a landmass isolated from the world, covered with untouched forests and deep valleys. On this island, a one-of-a-kind giant has ruled for thousands of years, evolving cut off from the outside world. The Kodiak bear, scientifically known as Ursus arctos medendorfi, if we set the polar bear aside, it is the heaviest and largest land predator on this planet. Right now, it stands before you. Let's start with its physical presence. An adult male Kodiak can reach a mass of 680 kilograms. Its shoulder height exceeds 1.5 meters, and when it stands upright, its height goes beyond 3 meters. To make these numbers more real, an average horse weighs around 450 kilograms. That means a Kodiak is much heavier than a fully grown horse. Despite this massive weight, it can reach speeds of 56 kilometers per hour. A horse can reach 70 kilometers per hour, but it needs time to build up to that speed. A Kodiak, on the other hand, reaches this speed with explosive power. Suddenly, and without any warning, its claws are the key to understanding this engineering marvel. Its front claws can grow up to 15 centimeters, slightly curved, and as hard as steel. These claws are specialized not for climbing, but for tearing, gripping, and applying enormous force. A single swipe from a Kodiak can produce destructive power equal to hundreds of kilograms of force. The truly terrifying part is the speed of that strike. The reflex speed of an animal this size pushes the limits of biomechanics. Now let's talk about its jaw. The anatomy of its skull reveals one of this animal's strangest strengths. Massive muscles bulging toward its temples give it a bite force of 1,200 psi. With this power, it can crush the thickest bones into pieces and seize large salmon in a single movement. During Alaska's salmon season, these jaws turn into a perfect machine, processing dozens of kilograms of protein without stopping, and that protein fuels one of its most extraordinary survival strategies. Let's talk about hyperphagia. I am sure this is a term you are hearing for the first time. Before hibernation, a Kodiak must consume 20,000 calories a day. To compare, a Tour de France cyclist burns around 8,000 to 9,000 calories a day, even during the steepest mountain stages. The Kodiak bear takes in more than twice that amount every single day. It feeds on salmon, blueberries, roots, or insects. In short, whatever is on the menu, whatever exists in the land where it lives. During this process, its body weight increases by 30 to 40%. Every gram of added fat becomes a vital energy reserve that will keep it alive throughout the freezing winter. The hibernation of the Kodiak bear is one of the most mysterious and equally impressive stages in its biology. For months, it does not eat a single bite, does not drink a single drop of water, and barely moves at all. Its heart rate drops from 40 beats per minute to just 8, while its body temperature falls by a few degrees. Its metabolism is completely recalibrated. But what is truly remarkable is that during this process, its muscle mass barely decreases. Normally, in most mammals, such a long period of inactivity would lead to severe muscle loss. But in the Kodiak bear, the system does not allow it. It is as if the perfect system inside its body has buried muscle loss in the dusty pages of history. Scientists find this mechanism so extraordinary that even today, this biological structure is still used as a reference for preventing muscle loss in astronauts during long-duration space travel. Waking from hibernation is just as magnificent. As the snows melt with the first light of spring, the Kodiak steps out of its den. Despite months without food, it is still alive, still strong, and ready to hunt. Its destination is clear: Alaska's salmon rivers. This salmon migration lies at the very heart of this giant animal's yearly energy cycle. When the rivers fill with silver-colored salmon, the shores turn into more than a feeding ritual. They become a social arena. The technique of catching salmon tells us a lot about the intelligence of this giant. Experienced individuals know the most strategic points of the river by memory. Calm pockets, where the current slows down. The base of waterfalls, where salmon are forced to jump. Shallow crossings. And all the other critical locations are fully known to them. This geographical knowledge builds over the years and turns into perfect efficiency. The young follow the older bears like shadows in order to learn these vital locations. This is not just instinct, it is the transfer of knowledge, a process of social learning. This capacity is what makes the Kodiak not just a predator, but a thinking strategist. Now, let's examine its sense of smell. The sense of smell of a Kodiak bear is 7 times stronger than that of a dog. Considering that dogs already have a sense of smell 10,000 times more sensitive than humans, a Kodiak carries a sense of smell around 70,000 times sharper than ours. It can detect the exact location of a food source from 29 kilometers away. In the endless and complex forests of Alaska, this nose is its most essential navigation system. Now let's look at the territory it rules. A single male Kodiak controls an area of hundreds of square kilometers. Every fishing ground, every passage, and every den within this enormous territory is engraved into its mind. But the real difference of Kodiak Island is this. In this land, it has no predator rivals. No wolves, no cougars, no other giants. For thousands of years, it has lived without competition, in complete isolation. And this loneliness is the greatest secret behind how it reached such enormous size over time. Around 12,000 years ago, bears that reached Kodiak Island became separated from the mainland brown bear population and followed a completely independent path. For 12,000 years, the island's isolated conditions, abundant food, and lack of competition shaped this animal into the giant it is today. The same species, the same biology, but a completely different geography and biological pressure. The result is that its current status makes it the largest land carnivorous mammal on Earth. And this greatness is not limited to physical size alone. Social hierarchy of the Kodiak bear also reflects this magnificence. At feeding grounds, there is an unshakable order among individuals. Large males have priority, while females and cubs wait their turn. This order is usually maintained not through bloody conflicts, but through sophisticated body language and tone of voice. Sometimes a single look, sometimes a deep roar is enough, because the presence of this animal already says everything. The impact of the Kodiak bear on the ecosystem is one of its least known. Yet most vital traits, think about the salmon season. The Kodiak carries enormous amounts of salmon from the riverbanks deep into the forest. The remains of the fish it eats are left on the forest floor. These remains mix with the soil, injecting ocean-based nitrogen and phosphorus into the land ecosystem. Research in Alaska proves that trees near the rivers grow much faster in areas with high bear activity. Without realizing it, a bear becomes a living bridge that carries the richness of the ocean into the forest. Even while simply feeding itself, it works like an engineer. Its digging behavior directly contributes to the ecosystem. While searching for roots and insects, it aerates the soil, prepares fresh ground for plants, and makes it easier for seeds to germinate. Every swipe of its claws triggers an ecological transformation. Seed distribution is also a critical link in this chain. The seeds of the blueberries and blackberries it eats are spread for kilometers. The fact that plant maps in Alaska overlap with bear roots is not a coincidence, but the result of a partnership that has lasted for millions of years. The entire ecosystem of Kodiak Island has been shaped around this giant. Around 3,500 Kodiak bears live on the island. This is an unheard-of population density for a predator of this size anywhere in the world. In terms of the number of bears per square kilometer, Kodiak is one of a kind. From grasslands to riverbeds, every piece of land breathes through its presence. So is this incredible picture under threat? Actually, no. The Kodiak population is currently extremely stable. Alaska's strict conservation policies and the island's isolated structure keep this species in a much safer position. Compared to other large mammals, limited hunting allowed under scientific data does not disturb the population balance. This is a rare luxury in the wild. Now put the whole picture together. A mass of 680 kilograms, a speed of 56 kilometers per hour, claws that reach 15 centimeters and a bite force of 1,200 psi, 20,000 calories a day, and zero muscle loss during hibernation. A system that can smell from 29 kilometers away and a biological legacy of 12,000 years. It is the strongest in Alaska, the Kodiak bear. But even the word strong is not enough to describe it. It is the heart of Kodiak Island. Without it, trees would grow more slowly, forests would spread less, and the soil would be left without breath. And on those foggy and wet mornings of Kodiak, this giant still walks down to the river. It still hunts. It still carries, without answering to anyone, without fearing anything. We may have reached the end of our video, but we need your support so the algorithm can notice us and so we can create even better content. If you enjoyed this video, you can support us by liking and subscribing. If you are curious about which animal's world we will explore in the next file, do not forget to turn on notifications. See you next time.